Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am Gebo the Shaman, and today I know many of you have been wanting me to talk about astrology stuff and get back into it, get back into my groove. So today I am going to start off a new series, Atmakaraka through the houses. So the Atmakaraka is the soul significator. Atma means soul. Karka is the significator. So, soul significator through the houses. So, today we're going to talk about all the possible planets that could be the Atmakaraka, and we're going to go through each house. Alright, we're going to go through the first house today, actually. So, let's jump right into it. So, the Atmakaraka is the soul significator. This means that this is what, your soul desire is, or what your soul purpose is, or things like that. It's why you incarnated. It has a major influence in terms of what the purpose of your soul is on this earth. And everybody thinks of purpose as being so serious. Well, you have to have a purpose or else you don't deserve to exist. Well, no. That's just not the case. Your purpose can be simply doing what you enjoy. Surfing, having parties, having, friendships, and getting to know people, things like that, improving your own health or things like that. So we have this tendency to think of the soul desire or soul purpose as something serious. We have to do this in order to, in order to have value or something like that. But anyway, so the Atmakaraka, well, there is several options that the Atmakaraka could be. It could be Sun, which is the natural Atmakaraka. Could be Moon, which is the Moon is the emotions and things like that. It could be Mars, Mercury, Venus, Jupiter. So I'll just go into each of these, and by the way, I am reading from my book here, Tantric Secrets of Vedic Astrology, and this has all that information in it. So let's see here. There we go. Atmakaraka. Okay. So essentially, let's see here. So the Atmakaraka. So how do we find the Atmakaraka? The Atmakaraka is the planet with the highest degrees in your chart. So if we have, let's say, Sun at 28 degrees 57 minutes of Leo, and we have Moon at 28 degrees Cancer and 56 degrees of Cancer. So yeah, you would look at that secondary degree if the primary degree is the same. So we have, for the example, we have 28 degrees for Sun and Moon of different signs. So we would want to see the absolute highest degree. And so some astrology softwares will automatically do this for you, but it's good to, actually know how to do this yourself. So you're just going to want to look at the planet with the highest degrees. So a typical sign will go from 0 degrees to 30 degrees. It should be, 29 degrees would be a high degree, but you'll just have to look at your own chart and see what that works, what that is for you. So let's go through the main karmic lessons for each of the sign, or each of the planets that could be Atmakaraka. So the Sun represents authority, leadership, power, inspiration, And the lesson is, don't let your ego get in the way, and instead treat everyone as your equal. So with the sun here, we have a strong desire for power, authority, and things like that, and respect from others. However, let's just be honest, some people are not going to respect us. That's just the reality of things. So we should always treat others as equals, and not act better than others or less than others, just as equals. And if you this is something that is huge with Donald Trump. I know a lot of people don't like him, but he brings people up. I was just watching a YouTube video the other day about how he was very very enemies with Megyn Kelly at one point, because she was accusing him of being a misogynist or things like that. And he had that famous quote. He was like, that famous line. He was like, Megyn Kelly was asking him, "Oh, you talk about women as being pigs and being filth and whatever," and he was like, "Only Rosie O'Donnell, only Rosie O'Donnell." So, but now Megyn Kelly is saying that he really drew her in with his presence. Some people just have that presence, So that's what the sun is, that the shining light. And I could go into more detail on Trump's chart and things like that, but MAGA, same, very similar. But yeah, so sun, Atmakaraka kind of draws people in like that, and him in particular, everybody likes him. Even if you're not fond of him, he's still if you're in the room with him, he will get you to like him. A lot of people say that that's because he's a narcissist and wants everyone to like him, but no, that's you can take it as you will, but yeah, I don't know. Sometimes I think he does have those qualities, but sometimes I think not. So anyway, so aside from the sun, so the sun's lesson is, oh yeah, we talked about that. And the moon represents the mother, the family, home, nourishment, emotions, sensitivity. And the lesson for the moon is, be more caring and compassionate. Branch out to make the world your family. And that is, that is definitely the lesson for the moon. So yeah, it's all about that, making the world your family kind of thing. Just being very caring, compassionate, and things like that. And then we have Mars. So Mars represents the masculine, aggressive, competitive soldier. It has to do with inspiration, ambition, and drive. And the lesson there is, don't get your anger, aggression, and competitive nature out of control. Don't let it get out of control. And learn to tone it down and use it properly, because there is a proper use for anger and aggression and all those things, but it's just, you don't want to go out of hand with it. You don't want to abuse women or just be ultra violent. Just learn when to use that and how to use it. So And then for Mercury represents intelligence, communication, teaching, learning, traveling, writing, speaking. So the lesson for Mercury is learn how to listen and communicate with others in a constructive way. So Mercury is very quick. It often speaks without thinking. So Mercury has the Atmakaraka. You can often not listen. You just want to talk and not listen. So that's not healthy either. So just very important to have that, balance between speaking and listening. They said, there's a saying, well, you have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so you should listen twice as much as you talk. I would agree with that. Especially early in life, Mercury is to do with young people and childhood and things like that. So, especially in childhood, because that's just the wise thing to do. But anyway, Jupiter. So Jupiter as the Atmakaraka represents spirituality, spiritual teacher / guru. It represents expansion, tolerance, healing, philosophy, virtue, travel, truth, lesson. Sometimes you need to use your intellect to be more specific and analyze things rather than skip past and get to the root. So people with Jupiter Atmakaraka can be very, they just don't care about speaking, about analyzing. They just want to get to the root. That reminds me of my mom. She would say, okay, what are you trying to say? Get to the point, get to the root. What are you trying to do? What's your motive here? What's going on? So yeah, it's, Mercury is gifted with the intellect and with talking and speech, and Jupiter just wants to know what's the point. What's going on? What's the, bottom line kind of thing. It's very serious and business oriented and, business oriented, but just wanting to get down to the bottom of things kind of thing. And then we have Venus. So Venus represents beauty, art, sensuality, music, food, creativity. And the lesson there is don't overindulge in material things. Instead, find a balance between the spiritual and the material. So Venus is all about, spiritual thing or material things. So there's a balance between Guru and Venus. Jupiter and Venus, which is, so Venus as an Atmakaraka would be all about the material things, the art, the beauty, the the luxuries, things like that. So, and then we have Saturn. So Saturn represents law, karma, cosmic judge, boss, responsibility, discipline, structure, organization, and justice. And the lesson for Saturn is that you have the ability to learn some of the deepest lessons in life. So with that Saturn being there, nobody likes Saturn, first of all. Saturn being your Atmakaraka, it can really give you some hard lessons in life, but there's so much blessings in that, because some people came here and they're like, I just want to have fun and screw around and play around and just live my life with minimal care and just whatever, have fun. So the people with Saturn here are like, I want to learn lessons. I want to spiritually evolve. I want to grow. I want to blossom. And so the only way to, as I've heard it said before, the only way to make a diamond is heat and pressure over time. Because they now make diamonds out of carbon nowadays. So it's just that continued heat and pressure over time that just makes a diamond. And it's, that it's really that continued perseverance that, whatever is going on in my life, it might be crappy, but there's a blessing on the other side of it. That's what I like to tell myself anyway. That we're all kind of here for one reason or the other, and it's up to us to find meaning and purpose in the life. And despite our lessons, life lessons and setbacks and things like that, our brains are meaning-making machines, so whatever meaning you put into them is what they will get. So essentially, if you can look at life as a growth opportunity, even though it might be challenging, an opportunity for growth and expansion and higher awareness, or you can look at it as a prison planet, a hellish, place where you're constantly being victimized and tortured and whatever. You can choose to look at it that way. However, that's not going to be beneficial for you. It's easy to put something off on somebody else and not take responsibility for it, but it's harder to actually take responsibility. So that's what Saturn is trying to teach us, is like, life is hard, so we have to take personal responsibility for everything in our lives. And once we do that, we can then change things. But it's like, you can't change things by saying, oh, this happened to me, this is not my fault. There's no room to change things yourself if you're saying everything is other people's fault. That just doesn't work. So, my friends, whatever is in your life, bad or good, it is your fault. Take the responsibility. Which means, a lot of people, when I tell them that you created everything in your life, bad or good, they will say, well, you're just victim blaming. And I'm not. That means that whatever you manifest in your life, that you can change it. You can make it better. You can, if you think about it from that perspective, because if you have no control, then you can't do anything about it regardless. But if you do have control, and if it's your responsibility that you take over your life, then guess what? You have the responsibility and the power to change it in your life. So that's Saturn. That's what Saturn is trying to teach. And then Rahu, which I don't typically use Rahu as an Atmakaraka, but here's the things for Rahu. Rahu represents unfulfilled desires, addiction, gambling, cheating, the occult, secrets, trickster. The lesson for Rahu is, don't be too gullible. Be truthful and honest. Don't cheat or steal. Don't let your attachments deceive you. So, that's a key lesson there. Rahu is all about attachments and things like that, so it's like don't let those things deceive you. So for Rahu as an Atmakaraka, you could be prone to addiction, drugs or alcohol. You could be prone to being gullible. Somebody says, hey, I want to sell you the Golden Gate Bridge for $1,000. And you give them the $1,000. Well, that wasn't their bridge to sell, so you gotta be discerning, be careful, not let your impulses drive you to do something that would be destructive to yourself or others. Rahu is very impulsive. Like, he can say, he's the one to justify bad behavior. Well, they did this, so I'm gonna do this. It's like, it's a funny story. My mom tells me to do something and I just do the opposite. So, yeah, that's Rahu energy for you. So yeah, that's like a list of the Atmakarakas. And this video took way too long, longer than I expected, so I'm gonna go ahead and start the first house, Atmakaraka through the first house, in the next video, so we will see you then. See you guys. Take care.